Negotiate. Obtain or bring about by discussion. The state of Hawaii is currently negotiating new contracts for nearly 45,000 public employees, represented by 14 bargaining units within 6 major unions. Despite record-setting tax collection, the governor has warned that this is going to be a tough year financially. Union reps say such predictions are diminished. In the end, who will hold all the bargaining power? This live broadcast and live stream of Insights on PBS Hawaii start now.
Aloha and welcome to Insights on PBS Hawaii. I'm Daryl Huff with Hawaii News Now. Hawaii has a history of union advocacy and political clout that started during the plantation era. With strong support and political clout from the Democratic Party, the state now maintains the second highest percentage of union membership in the nation, behind New York. And workers who belong to the public employee unions represent the majority of all union members in Hawaii. State and county employees are divided into 14 collective bargaining units with 6 unions representing them. Organized labor engages in political and legislative advocacy while promoting government employee rights and benefits through collective bargaining. The current union contracts for Hawaii's public sector unions are set to expire at the end of June. Talks are now in progress. Any negotiated agreements require employee ratification and funding by the county councils and state legislature. Joining us tonight are leaders from 2 public worker unions, the State of Hawai Organization of Police Officers, SHOPO, and the University of Hawai Professional Assembly, UPA, which represents the University of Hawai and community college faculties. Also at the Insights table is a labor law attorney to help demystify the collective bargaining process. We look forward to your participation in tonight's show. You can email, call, or tweet your questions, and you'll find a live stream of this program at pbshawaii.org. Now to our guests. Tanari Ma'afala is the president of the State of Hawai Organization of Police Officers, or SHOPO. He was born and raised in Honolulu in both Nakatani and Mayor Right housing. He started his career with the Honolulu Police Department as an officer in 1989 and is still serving in that capacity today. Christine Hanselman is the executive director of the University of Hawaii's Professional Assembly, or UPA, which represents the faculty at the UH system. Ms. Hanselman has more than 35 years of leadership experience in public unions and political affairs, including 12 years with the National Education Association. And Anna Alento Sneed, not Anto, sorry, is president of ES&A Law Firm that provides litigation and transactional services in the areas of labor employment, employee benefits, government contracting, and corporate governance. Now, we also invited representatives from other public sector unions. They include the Hawaii Government Employees Association, the United Public Workers, the Hawaii State Teachers Association, and the Hawaii Firefighters Association. They were either unable to send a representative or declined to participate. Of course, this is a very busy time. Everybody's in negotiation. And now, Lentos, let me begin with you, though, as independent, primarily a management attorney. What is the difference between public unions and private unions, just to give our audience a sense of what we're focusing on here in terms of the public unions?
Well, the law is different. In the private sector, the primary statute is the National Labor Relations Act. It was put into place in the 1930s. And then the counterpart is the Railway Labor Act. And it has a whole body of regulations, cases that govern it. And so, and a very robust administrative procedure, and offices throughout the country. In Hawaii, state public employee unions are governed by state law, which is the Hawaii Public Employee Relations Act. It's modeled kind of like the federal law, but very different. It has its own administrative agencies, its own case law, and it has different things that they permit under state law that they don't under federal. So it's 2 different bodies of law, although I guess the overall principle, management, labor, and then you negotiate and represent your respective parties is the same.
Christine Hanselman from UPA, in terms of the public employee unions, what's the situation in Hawaii? You were mentioning earlier when we were talking that it's very different here from other places. What makes Hawaii unique when it comes to its public employer unions?
Well, there's really sort of 3 things that happen here which are really quite different from the public sector on the mainland. One is that we are dealing with multiple parties to a bargaining table. So it's not just like a school district and the union. Here we have the governor at the table, we have the University of Hawaii at the table. For other unions, they're going to have the city and counties and state. So there's multi-party, and lurking in the background, of course, is the legislature, which is a party to the contract.
Lurking in the background or
lurking
like
in
a cloud?
Well, either way, depending on the day. And so they are the funding. You know, you have the governor that must put into play the monies that are agreed upon through a ratified contract. You need the legislature to approve those monies in the budget document. So you have multiple parties. You also have something here that I have found fascinating, which is the intent of what collective bargaining is supposed to do here. And the preamble to the law itself talks about collective bargaining being for dispute resolution and to enhance political and social, the social environment. And when they're talking about political, they don't mean, hey, who are you electing and did you contribute to any candidate? They're talking about good government.
You know, let me get back to that. That's an interesting point, but let's move that down a little later in the show.
Sure.
So let's talk about a little bit more nuts and bolts right now. Tanaya Mahafalo from SHOPO, this example that Christine Hanselman from UPA was mentioning of having multiple people at the table, your union represents 4 different counties worth of police officers with 4 different mayors at the table, plus the governor at the table, right? What's that like?
May I first just say this first, Daryl? I just want to thank you and the PBS management and staff for affording us this platform, along with my cohorts, Chris and Anna. This is a great time for us to give insight of what the Hawaii Labor Organization is about, and again, with Anna's experience, with vast experience with other history related to labor organization. And again, thank you so much. To your question, yeah, it can be very challenging. What you didn't mention is the HR directors as well, from each 4 counties that we do have to negotiate with and sit across the table from. And it's not to simplify or make it any less complex, but it is simple if you can understand each other's roles and truly stand by that mantra of for the greater good. So we need to understand what the employers are facing, their challenges, economic, finances, and the likes, and we can only hope that they'll understand what we're up against. And it's our duty as a labor organization to represent what the concerns and what the challenges are of our police officers across the 4 counties. So it is challenging at times, but at the end, when it all is said and done, we can only hope that collectively that we're working together for the greater good.
You know, Anna, Aleto Sneed, Hawaii is unique, and as you mentioned, that we have our specific Hawaii law, and I know a lot of the public worker union rights are like actually in our state constitution as opposed to in other statutes and so on. How much of a power balance do the public worker unions have here compared to what they might have in another state? Like, do they have more clout here than other places in terms of their ability to go to the table with more strength?
I think the way I can answer it is I have colleagues on the mainland who occasionally come here to do collective bargaining. They're always amazed how different it is. And I don't know if it's because of Hawaii's culture and the way we relate, or the fact that we're just geographically isolated and everybody is on the island. And so, you know, it's not like you can go and burn the place down, you're burning your neighborhood. So people tend to be a little bit more easygoing. But by the same token, you know, you might be here in negotiations, but then you go into, well, the political campaign seasons, and everybody's looking for endorsements. So that close tie that you see between the unions as well as the political parties, you know, and the community is there, but I think it's more pronounced because it's a small place. You know,
that's an interesting point, and good to turn to Christine Hanselman on this. I mean, UPA historically had its solid friends. I mean, Neil Abercrombie was a member of UPA for many years. He was very close to the people who were the negotiators for UPA. Frequently, UPA was the first union he negotiated with, as I recall. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that was what it seemed like. How do you, as a union, try and cultivate these kinds of political strengths, and does that make a big difference when it comes to negotiation, that knowing that there's a politician that's going to back you up if it comes time to do that?
It is important, but the issue is, can you establish and maintain a relationship? It's really not the issue of are you giving contributions, it's really are you committed. We have one university system, and we have campuses on every island. And so the degree to which faculty members have a presence in every community also has a legislature and has a legislative representative in that community. And so it makes sense that we are so tied to the students and the various families where we live is oftentimes the same place where we work, and it is because we are an island state.
And you've had to throw that switch a couple of times. I remember when I was at UH, we marched on the Capitol. I don't remember exactly why. It had something to do with salaries, but I mean, every once in a while you have to call on it. Is it as easy as it was 20 years ago or 40 years ago when I was in school?
No, it's not. But part of that is the time we're in. And we are undergoing at the university, in our bargaining unit, we are at a generational change. And what's happening is that we have many more faculty that have no experiences with unions. And we have many faculty who are not homegrown. We have an international and national labor market for a lot of our faculty. And so the environment is competitive. They do not necessarily come out of a union background. And we really have to redirect our communications to them in a way that helps them understand what the dynamics are here in the workplace.
Tanara Ma'afala, again, same question to you. I mean, SHOPO has been known for making commercials and being on television and having friends in the legislature when you needed them. How does that help you, though, in bargaining time? Does that make a difference?
It does and it doesn't, per se. When I first got elected to office in 2001, SHOPO was strictly Democrat. And I've learned real quickly that we have friends on both sides of the aisle, if you will.
Is there someone on the other side of the aisle?
I mean, always, you know what I mean? So it's always been our position. That's why we've never endorsed just one party. You know, we endorse the candidate. We want to know the candidate's ideology, his or her heart for the people of Hawaii. And I think Anna touched on it a little bit, why we're different from the mainland. And with all due respect, the aloha spirit is alive and well. Whether in negotiations, whether patrolling the streets and addressing a volatile situation, the aloha spirit will always come through at the end. So specifically to your point, that's why we've never endorsed one party. We truly endorse the candidate and what the candidate represents. And we do have an open door policy. We don't go knocking on the politicians' doors during election year. We have an open door policy. You want our endorsement? Come and get it. Let's sit down, talk story, tell us what your thoughts are about police officers who are tasked to put their lives on the line for the people of Hawaii and our visitors. So yes and no. So yes, in the context of with the governor carrying 4 votes and each mayor carrying 1 vote to solidify our contract, we have to respect them both. And I said earlier, it's important that we, as labor leaders, we need to remember that it's not about me, the president. It's about the 3,000 officers and their families that I'm representing. So I need to bring their best interests to the forefront, understanding what the governor is up against, understanding what the 4 mayors are up against, understanding what the 4 police chiefs are up against. And again, it helps me to advocate for my members because I'm still serving as a police officer. So not only do I hear about the problems that they face, but I see it and I live it. So I know the challenges that they face.
Anna Alento-Sneed, again, a little bit more from the outside, but you're in this community. You know the inside of that extent, certainly. Does this relationship, the University of Hawaii be able to say, we stand for higher education, the police, SHOPO will be able to say, we stand for law and order and the police officers, HSTA be able to say, we stand up for teachers, these groups of people who people have great esteem for. Do you see that playing out in negotiations that where maybe the government is afraid to, for lack of whatever, anger the teachers or afraid to anger the police or afraid to anger the university?
I don't know if people think about that. I think when they go into negotiations, everyone knows they have a very difficult job, and it is a process. And the negotiators on both sides know that their legal duty is to represent their half of the table. And what you have to do is go back and forth in this process to come to some kind of agreement. And I think what makes it difficult is the world is getting much more complicated. There's economic issues, there's competitive issues, there are all kinds of things that are shaping it. And you have these people, life used to be simple, back in the 50s and 60s. It's not like that now. And it makes it even more complicated when both the employers, your bargaining unit members and the employers, have 4 generations in the workplace. And so when you were saying the people are very different and they forget, it's because you actually have 4 different generations in your bargaining units, and they don't all think the same. They don't even understand the issues the same. And so the poor negotiators have to get their side together and come to agreement.
It reminds me, so Kristen Hanselman from UPA, from the employees' side, who's in your ear? What kind of group of people are telling you what they want? How do you know what to negotiate when you've got this kind of variety of interests in your union?
Well, we have sort of, our barbell has been changing. We used to have a number of people close to retirement, and we then started having new hires. So right now we are in a really interesting dynamic where we have about 50% of our bargaining unit that we would call mobile, which means they have the ability to leave. And so some of those are people who already qualify for full retirement, full Social Security, full ERS, and they have the ability to say, you know what, it's time for me to leave. And I'm going to have some nice, I'm going to Oregon. We have another 35% that are young. They may be probationary employees. 35% of our bargaining unit is now under age 40. And that means that they have the ability to say, hey, if my working conditions or I'm having a hard time buying a house here, it's hard for me to start a family, they have mobility. And what's going on is we have a number of other states and internationally in our highly competitive fields, they're getting very attractive job offers.
Tanarama, this is a perpetual issue with police officers too, right?
Right, absolutely. And that's why we've come a long way. In 2001, like I shared with you before we started, what inspired me and many of our officials today, in that contract, we netted 3% over a 4-year period. So we're like, man, this is not.
When you say net, though, let me understand. Was that
it was
because
it was a 4-year contract. It was 0, 0, 1, and 2%.
But did all the employees get that same amount that year?
No. And that time, that was one of the most healthy economic times for Hawaii. And more so, I was like, whoa, this cannot be. So today, 10 years ago, we had a huge mass exodus of officers from Hawaii going to the mainland, namely the Northwest. Today, we have many of those officers coming back home. And we even have many from other parts of the United States that are coming here to Hawaii. And more importantly, our homegrown officers are staying home. And like I said, we've come a long way. And
what's the difference?
Better pay. Their pensions and their benefits are much better than the mainland. The mainland, you might get paid high up front as far as salaries and wages, but when you're retired, there's no benefit waiting for you and your family. So it kind of balances out. But today, within the last 8 years or so, we've caught up as far as the pay scales are concerned. And if I'm not mistaken, I think in the United States, our officers, we're in the top 10 as far as salaries are concerned. Prior to us getting involved, and again, with all due respect to our previous forefathers of our union, we were never in the ballpark.
What's interesting about that is that we always heard, and I don't know how old this thinking is, that Hawaii public employees might not be paid as much as their private sector counterparts. I know, Anna-Lena Sneed, you've heard this. But the benefit structure, particularly at retirement, the amount of days off and those things were much more generous. Is that still the case now? I know you may not be an expert on what's there, but from what Tanarama Fall is saying, are the salaries catching up? Or does that work? Can you? I know that I'm getting to be a really long question here.
No, and I think.
But I mean, this dynamic of, I'm not offering you very much money as salary, but boy, in 30 years you're going to be in a great shape. Does that work in this day and age in terms of when you've got a young workforce and that sort of thing?
I think it's different. I mean, if you look at studies, the millennials, and supposedly they aren't motivated necessarily by money, just money. They're looking for a cause, they're looking for a lifestyle, they're looking for flexibility. And if they don't get it with you, they just move on. I think, though, in terms of wages and benefits, not just public sector, it's also private. The days when you could say this group, public employees less, private sector more, I think it depends now on the job classification, because there's some severe shortages in certain areas. So public and private have to pay the going rate and compete with other places. And it's not just American cities or locations. I mean, there are Asian countries that want certain skills, and Europeans, and they'll pay. And people will just go to where the jobs and the money are.
Christine Hanselman from UPA, that dynamic that I just described, how has that played out for university faculty?
The younger faculty are clearly not getting the same levels of benefits because of changes in the law. So there
have been basically takebacks over the years.
There has been
right?
takebacks, and the percentage of contributions is higher for ERS for younger employees. So they are saying that and they have to wait longer, and the benefit they will get is a lesser benefit. Not only do they have to wait longer. In higher education, many of the institutions have portability of their pensions through TIAA-CREF. And here our faculty members are part of the ERS, the state system.
I think I need you to explain that a little bit more.
Okay, it means that you have a personal pension, and if you move, let's say I'm a faculty member and I'm coming out of the University of Washington to Hawaii, I have a nice pension bundle that stays with me. If I could, I would bring it here. Unfortunately, we don't have that kind of portability with our pensions. Higher education is somewhat unique in that respect, and it has been a very good sales tool for being able to attract faculty, because you don't lose anything. You pack up your pension and you take it to another institution.
But here you can't do that.
Here you can't do that.
So you start from scratch?
You start from scratch. We have experienced faculty that are hired here, and they have come out of a TIAA-CREF environment where they have portability, but they can't port here. So they do have to then start over at the base, and that's a real disincentive.
How tough a sell is that, though? If you come to the bargaining table and you say, oh, we need you to improve our retirement benefits, in this day and age, you're going to be laughed away from the table, right?
Actually, we don't have the right to negotiate them here. So
it's all set in the law?
It's all set in law and statute. So our ability to impact that area is somewhat limited, and it is for all the public sector unions.
I seem to recall, and forgive me for interrupting and putting in some of my own experience here. I remember UPW once did a contract where they said, we're willing to take a little bit less in salary if we can have this retirement benefit improved or this health benefit improved. I mean, does that, you can't do that in the system now, or somehow the union leader of that time was able to have the clout to go to legislature and say, part of my deal is you change the law for my people?
That was before my time here.
do you recall that at all? I mean, so in Hawaii, and I know this is important to police officers, you go to the table and you can't you can't give away something on the retirement side or give away something on salary and get something better on retirement.
Chris had said, that's legislature, that's law. So what's set by the ERS, we have to, again, follow as it's stated. And the same thing with our health benefits, it's the same thing.
Is that a good or bad for you?
Well, it's good in a way. And again, we cannot disrespect or criticize our lawmakers. We respect them for what they believe is in the best interest of the people of Hawaii, the state as a whole. And could our pension be better, our health benefit? Absolutely. But again, we want to be fair with everyone. Again, understanding what our government leaders have to, especially today, with the unfunded liability with our pension and our health fund.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is that people are making a lot of noise about that.
So that might be something that our lawmakers might want to entertain, bringing back. having the employees take lesser of a salary and invest in their pension. But again, I think something that we can talk about here, and with all due respect to our state lawmakers, SHOPO sued the state for rating the ERS. We sued the state. Thankfully, we're successful that the judge had stopped them from rating the pension further, but they didn't replenish.
And they've done it for years.
Yes, sir. So again, it's a collective thing that everyone needs to be responsible, and again, beginning with our state lawmakers.
Well, Anna Lentos, how different is that from the private sector?
I think what's happened, and I don't know the details, but I think the ERS is set up very similar to a defined benefit.
Yes.
A defined benefit plan is one where, under the terms of the agreement, you get a set amount when you retire. But
That's what people call a pension. I recall those in the past.
And the risk is on the employer to correctly invest and to fund to guarantee that at the end. The private sector used to be like that. That's what you called all the legacy plans in the automotive industry, in the airlines. And what happened is the economy went up and down. And what happened is it became cost prohibitive. So a lot of the employers in the private sector basically froze and the benefits in those plans, terminated, and went to a more portable plan, kind of like TIAA craft, which is basically what you call a 401k or defined contribution, where the risk is on the employee in terms of putting in enough into the plan with or without matching from the employer, so that you have a set amount. And so it's where the risk of the investment
Who's carrying the
goes in.
risk?
Right.
Speaking of the who's carrying the risk, a question from some of our viewers are beginning to come in now. When negotiating, do any union bargaining representatives have any interest for the taxpayers, or are they obligated to only watch out for their members? Somebody try. Christine Hanselman, you want to try that one first?
Well, I think when you represent faculty, you represent a group that is very diverse in their relationships to the communities. And so when we are negotiating, while we're dealing certainly with a variety of salaries and a variety of issues, part of our bargaining unit is engaged in fact, creating employment themselves. And so there's a really interesting dynamic when you work with faculty. And we have faculty that, because of their grants and their monies, external funding, they themselves are economic engines within their community. So they are giving back a lot in terms.
I got to stop you there, because you need to explain that. So what you're saying is some researcher who brings in a ton of money ends up employing a bunch of people.
Yes.
So they're both an employee and an employer.
Yes.
So when they're you're negotiating for both the employee and the employer in that situation.
No.
Okay.
I'm negotiating for the faculty member only.
Okay.
And many of those employees, they are hired for the term of a grant or a contract. They may perform a variety of duties depending on the grant or the contract, but this is pretty typical for a higher education public institution. We have contracts whereby there are a number of services being provided in the communities, whether it's invasive species, whether it is water management issues, whether it's healthcare. So there is a different symbiotic relationship between faculty oftentimes and the taxpayers in the communities where they work. So it's a pretty interesting environment.
Let me put that to you then. I'm a follower from SHOPO. It's a little bit clearer in your case. I mean, and I'll go back to the question, which I think is, do you have an interest for the taxpayers, or are you only interested in getting the best you can for your members?
To avoid not sounding disrespectful, let me first say that
They're taxpayers?
we're taxpayers too.
Okay.
We pay taxes. We pay taxes. So without a doubt, and in negotiations when we're at the table, with all due respect, right, that's employers' responsibility to bring that to the forefront.
To represent the taxpayer.
To represent and to say why they're not able to pay what we're asking for, the ability to pay. So like I said earlier, from our side and how we've always negotiated and will continue to do so, we totally respect the employer side. So we've done our homework, we're ready, and we're hoping that they are ready as well. And then let the facts prove otherwise. So first and foremost, absolutely, we're very concerned about our taxpayers. And with that said, we pay taxes too.
How do you know when you're trying to figure out a position to take what's available in terms of the amount of tax money that is reasonable to ask for?
Well, we need to know. So we need to know the economic forecast, not just for today, but 2, 4, 6 years down the line. And of course, what happened in the past. Obviously, we can't go back and get monies there, but looking forward. But past experience will kind of give us an idea of what we're looking for. And again, we got to be real. We cannot be, again, pardon the expression, be greedy and not consider what the employer is up against, because it's, again, like I said earlier, the mantra is just simple: for the greater good, for them, for us, and again, for the community.
Let me ask, do you think that dynamic plays a big role in the public employee unions? I mean, do you feel like people are legitimately concerned about the taxpayers in that process?
You mean in the public sector?
Yes.
I think generally yes, but I think what the other issue that they have or problem is that, again, collective bargaining is a two-sided table. The third party, the taxpayers, are watching from the outside, but the legal duty is for the employer and the to represent the department, the branch of government they have, and then the union does their representation of the bargaining unit. So it gets very narrow on the issues. And, yeah.
You know, you wanted to say something? I'm sorry. You looked.
No, I'm good.
Good. Then I'll just ask again. You know, another questioner comes in. What are some of the complications when negotiating with a nonprofit such as a government? I think that this is more about having restricted funding streams as opposed to being able to go get some stock or something like that. My question to you, though, is in UPA's history, I remember there have been great contracts with lots of big raises and then years with very little. I mean, what's the art of that from the union point of view of knowing when the iron is hot?
You know, it goes to the issue of revenue and where your funding streams come from. And the university is sort of a complex little universe to itself about funding. So we have monies that come from tuition. We have monies that come from the state. We have monies, about $400 million a year, that come from grants and contracts. So there is a variety of funding streams, and sometimes those are very robust and sometimes they are not so robust. In previous years, there has been the opportunity of the university to in fact contribute more to the economic well-being and to the salary packages of the faculty. Right now we have a much tighter budget constraint, and so the amount of revenue that becomes available for bargaining is pretty flat right now.
Is that easy to explain to your members?
You know, actually it is, and it is because we have a number, we've got, let's see, about 3,600 in the bargaining unit. We have people in our bargaining unit that bring in their own salary monies through grants and contracts. And that's an acceptable way that people can also enhance their earnings, is through grants and contracts. So it's a little bit different environment. We have other faculty where grants and contracts are not plentiful, you know, in English and in some of our areas. So they are pretty well aware that there is great differences in how revenue is captured at a university. And it depends on when you can capture the revenue. So it does go up and down. It's like the economy. Our revenue stream goes up when we have tremendous numbers of students returning, which may be counter-cyclical to others.
Exactly.
When the economy's down, we get a bump up, which helps our revenue.
You know, let me, an interesting question that comes up is that the tactics of we don't have anybody representing the employer at the table here today, but you know, that would be the governor primarily in the state of Hawaii, for all of you, not just, you know, you guys may work for the counties, but it's the governor that's in the driver's seat, right? And he made a lot of statements during this legislature about, oh, one of the things I did, I paid down the pension system. So it makes it look like he's doing something nice for the public workers because he's trying to reduce the unfunded mandates that are in the pension system. Then he said, oh, I spent the surplus on the pension system, basically. What kind of corner has he put you in terms of what to expect? I mean, we heard city officials talking about 1%. I told you this story the other day, 1%, maybe a little bit more. How realistic is it for them to get something like that?
Well, for us, the burden is on us as a labor organization. We have to do our homework to prove otherwise. Again, with all due respect to Governor Ige, and you're right, everything that you just said, one hand it's paid down and we have this surplus, then it's gone. So it's our job. The burden is on us to prove that the county, in fact, and the state has the ability to pay for what we're asking for. And again, we're very realistic. We're not going to ask anything that's silly, if you will, wasting everyone's time, our time and our members' time. We want to get our contract and get it going. So we have to do our homework to prove them otherwise.
When you see this dynamic with the employer, you've been working for employers that did the same thing. It's a terrible year in construction or whatever. Are employees? How do you persuade employees to accept less and believe the employer's statements about these kind of things?
I guess people have different styles of bargaining, and just like they have different styles of lobbying and everything else, you can make a show, and the other side will make a show, and it'll take a little longer before you actually talk about the issues. For me, I think it works faster if you just say, this is my reality, this is your reality also. You're in the same company, you're in the same organization, and we have these problems we have to resolve.
The government's not going to go out of business, right?
Well, it won't go out of business, but you can't keep taxing everybody because eventually they do leave. People do move away, and other people retire. I mean, one of my big fears is, what happens when all of those people at the state retire? We don't have enough people to replace. And that's going to be a huge problem. So those are things that hit everybody, whether you're on the union side or you're in management. It's a problem in the state. And the kinds of skills that we need, we aren't attracting those people, or if we attract them, it's hard to retain because we get outbid by other places. And that's a community problem. That's a state problem.
Let me ask this. This is a question that's pointed directly at SHOPO, but it goes to the question of the non-monetary benefits, right? So here's the question. It says, it's more than pay. SHOPO fought personal cameras, but their collective bargaining allows a variety of appeals to discipline issues that have allowed officers charged with serious crimes to stay on duty. Why should we support that? If you want to answer that directly, you can, but the way I would phrase that question is, how much of your negotiation is about stuff like that as opposed to money and benefits?
Okay, great question. First and foremost, SHOPO does not represent in criminal and or civil cases. Strictly administrative disciplinary actions. That's SHOPO. That's what we do. As far as what we negotiate in, as far as the camera issue, we need to be clear. We're not against the camera. We supported it. We partook in fashioning a policy that now Kauai Police Department, under the leadership of Chief Darryl Perry, has implemented. The other three counties, first and foremost, Hawaii County and Kauai County, Maui County, are going through a pilot program with the camera. We've not challenged it. We welcome the camera. Honolulu is currently, they just released their policy, and we like it. So they're going to enter into a pilot program as well. What we're negotiating is, if that camera is not, which we believe it's a negotiable item because it affects the officer's work condition. The officer will get disciplined if he or she does not turn the camera on when they're supposed to, if they don't submit the evidence when they're supposed to. So technology now, it's a great thing, but also we got to remember, you still need a human being to activate such an equipment. Things like vacation, sick leave, those are all negotiable items that we negotiate vigorously on behalf of our officers. Something you mentioned earlier, Darryl, I think you were kind of alluding to, if we're at the table negotiating for police officers, do we look and compare to firefighters and teachers and UPA and the like?
I was going to go there.
Right? We don't. Unless they pose the question, then we'll address it accordingly. But we don't. We just go strictly and narrowly on what we are up against and why we deserve what we deserve. We don't go and say, oh, HFFA got this, UPA got this. We don't do that. We've never done that, and we'll never do that.
But if there is an X amount in the pie, and I'll throw this back to Christine Hesselman from UPA, if there's X amount in the pie, do the public worker unions end up in some rivalry during this period of time? You're all negotiating at the same time. There's a tendency to look over there. Isn't there a tendency to look over the shoulder and go, that guy got this? I mean, is there a tendency to say, okay, everyone should get about the same in order to satisfy all these various unions?
I think it depends on a couple of factors. One of them does relate to the notion of how much do certain bargaining units bring to the table. And in that respect, the faculty unit has a little bit different kind of position because we do have people bringing money into the economy. So we do have about $400 million a year that comes in through faculty efforts. So it changes the dimension of the discussion. But I think
let me just ask it directly this way. So part of the university's ability in a down economy is to make the argument that we're helping the economy.
Yes.
You just wanted to make that clear.
Yes,
Okay.
and it's also a job creation, as I've mentioned before. There is differences, for example, that relate to the makeup of our bargaining unit, and in order for the bargaining unit that I represent, it is oftentimes very critical that we pay attention to where the money is placed, and whether it goes to younger employees that have just come in to the field, whether it goes, we have large numbers of faculty members that come in between 54 and 68,000 a year. And those people are the ones that are young, and we need to make sure that they have minimum salaries. And so we may place our monies there because it's a way that we can keep them, and so that they are not easily. So our competitiveness is oftentimes as much internally within our own bargaining unit as it is towards any other bargaining unit. What I would say is I think one of the more challenges for all of the unions is the health benefit, the EUTF, the Employer Union Trust. And it is a very difficult issue. And part of it is the structure, and part of it is the system is set up that it's not based on beneficiaries. You have the employers, you have the unions trying to knock heads about what plans and what rates are going to be provided. Now, for many employees, not just those that are part of my bargaining unit 7, the lower income people pay a much higher percentage of their salary. And so one of the things that is not competitive and harms employees across all bargaining units is, in fact, the percentage of benefits that our folks pay out of pocket. It's much higher.
That's statutory, right? Again.
It is.
That's in the law.
It's in the law, but it cuts across all our bargaining.
Yes. How big a problem is that for you folks this year, the health benefit?
Well, anytime the premiums go up, it makes it that much tougher.
How much have they gone up?
I would say maybe 5%, maybe from the last.
Yeah, and we don't have the benefit rates that will be going into effect in 2018. Right. So when you get a low salary offer and you don't know what the benefits are going to be, you're looking at then more out of pocket potentially for our bargaining unit members, and that can happen to any bargaining unit.
Let me go to Anna Olento's-Need again from a more independent view. When you've got all of the unions that represent all of your employees negotiating at the same time, is that good or bad? From the employer or the taxpayer part of it, or who has the advantage in a circumstance like that?
I was thinking about that when you were talking about it. I was thinking in the private sector, it's just the opposite, where you might have, like, say, the hotel unions, right? There's Local 5 in Waikiki, and then he's got all these different chains, and what they do is they go to the different chains, and you say, I'll see what I can get here, and then everybody falls in line. That's the strategy.
They shop
it's
for
on
the
the opposite
venues,
side
right?
for public, because the state sits there,
Right.
and then you all have to negotiate. And all in one time, it makes for craziness towards the end of the session.
Yes.
But in terms of who has the leverage in a situation like that? Is it the employees or the employer? And in fact, we've got a question right here. According to the legislative schedule and multiple unions bargaining now, aren't we running out of time? What happens with these 11th hour negotiations or no agreements? Strike? Question mark.
I don't know if it's leverage so much as that everybody goes crazy. How can you get it all done on a date certain and the lineup? Just, you must go 24 hours a day with no sleep.
And then,
after a while.
Christine Hanselman from UPA, you have a union that can strike.
Yes.
Tanarima Afala, you have a union that can't strike. So you've got completely different processes all happening at the same time. Okay, let me just divide that question up. If you're in a union that can strike, first you got to, are you people willing to strike? Can you get unified behind it? Have we ever had a faculty strike?
Yeah. There was one in 2001 that arose out of 2 years of being without a collective bargaining contract, and it arose out of a great deal of anger. I mean, anger motivates, and anger towards, in this case, a governor that was not particularly popular with the public sector.
Republican governor?
No, I believe it was Governor Cayetano.
Oh, okay, sorry.
And so you had a spark. And
I should have remembered all this. I'm sorry.
there was a spark there. And for faculty to strike, or for any union to strike, it's really a tough decision. Yeah. And you have to have sort of that threshold. You can never go out without the majority of the unit being very committed to this is what they have to do for the well-being of their families, for their profession, and what they believe will be, in our case, for the students and their communities. So we are still obviously in negotiations. We got a proposal rather late. We have probably until about next Wednesday.
How recently did you get the proposal?
Tuesday.
The first proposal?
No, we had a proposal from December, which was inadequate, and we had a proposal on Tuesday that, without getting into the details, is also inadequate. And so
Tuesday was 2 days ago.
Yes.
And you have till Wednesday.
Till next Wednesday.
And somehow you have to communicate this with your thousands of...
Well, we don't have a settlement. We don't have a tentative agreement.
But even your negotiating committee has got to be a lot of people, right?
My team is, the UHPA team is about 8 people. The UH has their team, of which theirs is bigger than the UHPA team. Every campus is represented.
Let me just ask, I'm sorry, just because since we've gotten to a really interesting area here, is this brinksmanship on the part of the administration? I mean, why?
I don't know. Remember, we have a sort of, we have a split personality here, which is we have the University of Hawaii where we can only deal with non-cost issues. Okay, so there's this all language, and we sit around and talk language. You're talking about when you talk,
okay,
yeah.
When you say split personality, you've got the EGA administration and you've got the university administration, and the university administration can't talk about money.
That's correct. So it's a rather schizophrenic kind of environment on occasion. So when you talk about chaos,
look at your face. It's like, this is crazy.
No, it's different. Wow. I think it's different for each of the unions, right?
Yeah,
what you can negotiate, which is crazy because I did at one point represent an employer that had, we had 10 units, 7 unions, and all negotiated together. But we were able, we were talking about it. I mean, I color-coded everybody so I could remember who was who. But what we did was every unit could do their non-economic issues first, some kind of logical fashion, and then they would combine for collaborative or coordinated bargaining on the economics. But they were the same, at least on the economics. And I think it sounds horrible, but it's like it's all different for every single unit at the state. So even if you wanted to get it organized, how would you do that?
So how is things going with you? Again, without stating specifics, I know you can't. Are you in the same boat where you're getting these offers at the last minute?
Sometimes.
This year.
This year. Let me get this strike thing out of the way first. First and foremost, you're right. We're not, by law, a federal mandate that we're not allowed to strike. But I've worked many strike posts in my career as a police officer. To be known, prior to being involved with SHOPO, I used to get angry at the unions because they were creating, again, inconvenience for hotel guests or whatever the case may be. But today, I appreciate and understand it and totally respect what the unions are doing in representing the small voice, if you will, the voice of their constituents. So I can understand that, and I totally respect it.
Okay, now back to my question.
Right.
I mean, when did you get a legit offer? Have you gotten a legit offer?
Not yet. So we haven't gotten on the cost items yet. It's the non-cost items that we're ironing out right now, although we've handed over proposals of cost and non-cost items already. So we haven't gotten any counter proposal.
So we'll probably have a special session of the legislature to deal with these union contracts.
We'll see.
Is there a time when you can start, like
Yeah,
restrictions and when you can start
Right.
negotiating?
So it's driven by two parties, right? And,
Yeah.
and that's why, like I said earlier, and I won't be a hypocrite to what I said earlier, I understand what they're up against. Like, they just gotten through with HGA and HFFA, right? And of course with UPA on the table.
But they
we're on the
haven't
table.
finished yet, right? They just gone to the arbitrators, right?
Well, I think HFFA already settled, and in fact they announced the settlement. I think it was in the papers today, and I believe HGA, who was on the table, they've settled as well. So I don't know when that is coming out, but yeah, it's.
It just came out here on live TV.
Oh, did it?
You just said it.
Oh, okay, all right. It was in the news.
I hadn't heard it yet.
Right.
I have to call my
So
station.
yeah, we want to respect. We don't want to rush into it. I mean, we could, like you're saying, we could impose a deadline, but we've done our research to where if we do that, are we benefiting our members at the end of the day? Do I want to just pound table, hey, get it done now? Versus, hey, I understand what you're up against. You have to take care of these unions that moved a lot quicker than we have, per se, and if you will. So we're okay. We're fine with it, and we're always amicable to compromising, for the greater good.
Let me ask this though: if indeed we confirm that HGA has settled, that's a big dog in this fight. Does it usually create a domino effect once one big union settles that things then click along? They set sort of a benchmark.
I think this year we don't know. I certainly don't know. For my bargaining unit, and my team is filled with wonderment too about what direction may occur within basically a 5-day time period in order for the legislature to take an act. And keep in mind, for the units that have striking capacity, we have to have a ratified contract, which means all of the members of the bargaining unit have to vote on it before there can be an appropriation. So the three of us that have that creates some time barriers that a unit that is subject to arbitration does not have. We have not seen the HGEA arbitration awards yet. I think there's 6 units. Whether they will be a pace setter or not, I think is really unclear right now, because their units have their own diversity. They have some with salary steps. They have some that are straight wages. And so those have an impact on how much money becomes available.
Now that you're mentioning this, I'm now remembering a little bit more, is that you've got hidden within, there might be a big number that's announced, there might be a big wage number, but then within the structure, there's also how often you move up in wage and all these other things that get computed in there. So an individual employee might make more or less than that big number. And again, it's about this group of my members is getting this and this group is getting this. It's really complicated. You know?
Yeah. It could, and exactly what Chris is saying. There's other variables within negotiation that what you might see up front, a 2% increase, might not be a 2% increase. There's other benefits like with overtime, how much you're going to do that. For police officers, uniform and equipment, that adds to it as well. So that's why we got to be very mindful, and that's why we're not, at a rush per se, and then hold them hostage, if you will, the employers. Get it done now. We got to understand the dynamics that they face as well.
We've only got about a minute and a half left, and I want to throw this out because you brought this up, Christine, early, that some of the preamble to our negotiating is the good of the people and the good of the state. Does this system work? Is it a good system that we have here in the state of Hawaii? Are we better off than most places, or worse off because of this arrangement with our public unions?
I think there are some things that can help both employers and the public and the unions here. And that is that there is an expectation that the parties, even when they aren't negotiating, have to talk about important issues in the workplace on an ongoing basis. And that is a rather unusual part of the law here that should be building what is the part that says we want Our bill is based on building relationships, and it's a very unusual preamble.
Okay, let me give Tanai really quickly. Do you feel like it works well?
I believe so. I don't think we'll ever find a perfect system. As long as we got good people with good hearts looking at the best interests of both parties, and yes, at the end of the day, about the community, you know, what's best for our people here in Hawaii and our visitors alike.
You get one sentence. What do you think?
It's an island, it's one community, and if we don't figure it out, we're all sinking. So
We're all in the canoe.
it's one canoe, literally.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, folks, and mahalo to all of you for joining us tonight. And we thank our guests, Tanari Ma'afalo from SHOPO, Anna Alento-Sneed from the ES&A law firm. I'd be very careful to get that plug in. And Christine Hanselman from the University of Hawai Professional Assembly. Thanks very much. Next week on Insights, despite the drastic decline in residential rooftop solar installations, how will solar technology play a major role in meeting Hawaii's ambitious clean energy goals? We'll be talking about that next week on Insights. I'm Daryl Huff for Insights on PBS Hawaii. Ahui ho.